So I watched every Naruto movie, all 11 of them, and they're like other anime movies where they don't really matter canonically, but they're just a fun experience, kind of just like taking random missions for Team 7, subbing out Sasuke usually, and that's really what it is. Let's go ahead and spoiler warning before we jump into the video, because I'm going to spoil every one of these, and you know, if you watch a movie, it takes place in the timeline of Naruto, so it's going to spoil base Naruto too. So also, subscribe. Look at the graph. Subscribe, please. Let's get into the video. When I think of a Naruto movie, this is the one I think of. Maybe mostly nostalgia talking, but I did see this in theaters when I was a little boy. I had a very fond memory of this one, and when I watched it, it actually still held up. I thought it was a good movie through and through. There's a good setup between the actress Yukie and also Kakashi having a little bit of ties to the Land of Snow. Obviously, as we go on, we see that it's not just a little bit of ties, it's a very big tie. She's the princess of the Land of Snow. Kakashi was like her bodyguard. I think this movie embodies the Naruto series really well. There's a couple of really good moments in there. You have, of course, the Naruto holding Yukie, running from the train, and she's like, we gotta just give up, there's no chance, and Naruto just runs, keeps running. He knows that there is not a chance he's going to die, so Yukie thinks there's not a chance they're gonna live, he thinks there's not a chance they're gonna die. Just feels like a real Naruto mission. You still have the olden days stuff of, you know, a bunch of hand signs. You have the Lion's Barrage, has the Rasengan finisher move, which we should start getting used to because that's the last fight scene of every one of these movies. I'm not kidding, it's every one of them. I'm not a huge fan of chakra armor. Like, that's not something that I really love, but it's something that we got to get used to, because once again, this kind of starts the trend of like different things than just shinobi. There's a bunch of weird shit that happens in Naruto movies, and it's fine, but just so you know, this is where it starts, is chakra infused armor. Love the movie though. I'm gonna give it S tier. It might be nostalgia talking, but yeah, S tier. This is another one that kind of just feels like a mission that Team 7 would actually just go on. However, this is after Sasuke was a little edgy guy and ran off, so you have Shikamaru slotted in instead of him in this movie, and I love that. I'm all for that. I love Shikamaru. Shikamaru's really cool. We've got good characters other than just Shikamaru added on. We also have Gaara. Pretty good focus on Gaara and the other sand ninjas, and I love that because everybody loved Gaara. Not a huge fan of Kankuro. I don't like puppets. We'll talk about that again later. It comes up. But the movie characters themselves are also pretty interesting. You have Tejimin, the main guy for it, the guy that doesn't know what chakra is, but is still pretty strong. And you feel bad for him when it gets revealed that he's just a pawn of the main villain who he thought was like the hero. I do hate the evil organization, to be honest. I don't think they're very good, very compelling. You kind of knew the guy was going to be a scumbag from the very beginning. You might want him to be good guy, but he's obviously not good guy because he seems like too much of a good guy. His evil organization, his lackeys, are pretty lackluster as well. They all kind of like take the form of an animal, which is another trend that kind of happens a lot in these movies. I don't know, kind of lazy. You guys know, if you watch my One Piece videos, that I hate Zoe and Devil Fruits, the ones that make you into animals, and that's kind of how these feel. But the Stone of Gelel is kind of cool. It's, you know, a very powerful chakra infused stone that can grant wishes or something like that. It makes your body very, very strong. Not bad, but definitely not the best. I'm gonna put it in B tier. Pretty middling movie, to be honest. Probably worst Naruto movie. This one's got a really long build up to get us actually into it. Team 7 that has now Rock Lee instead of, you know, Shikamaru or Sasuke. And I'm all for it because Rock Lee always has crazy fights. He always has the best fights. And let's be honest, he has the best fight in this entire movie. But as far as the rest of it goes, I don't really care much for the new characters, the movie characters. It's a prince and his son, and they just start off as like these really spoiled rich guys. These characters just don't really seem likable. They try to give them a redemption by their village betrays the prince and his son and kill their father, who's the current king. But I just don't really feel bad for him because I don't really care about the guy. The characters on the opposing side are honestly a lot cooler, but they're still not very cool. They do have some interesting abilities, and they have, you know, the hair of a certain someone. I don't know, the movie just doesn't really do it for me. It's kind of boring. It's the most like standard of the Naruto movies. D tier. It's the worst Naruto movie in my opinion. I think it's the worst one. We start off in the climax of the movie and Naruto dies. He literally has a burial and everything. And then, oh, Flashback, we wake right back up, and it's just like a 2 weeks earlier scenario, and I hate that in movies. It's like just a spoiler built into the movie. Why would you ever do it? The plot line for this one is pretty simple, honestly. There's a demon lord who's coming back to take over the world, and that's it. The characters aren't incredible, and the powers are not incredible. The opposing person is not incredible, in my opinion. Honestly, a pretty forgettable final boss. Once again, Rock Lee continues to be just the best part of the entire movie. Rock Lee is always got the best fights. He's always got incredible fights, dude. He's like Zoro in One Piece. He's just always got the best animated, coolest fights, and he has that in here. He has this crazy fight against this nuts dude that transforms and gets like 7 faces, and he goes drunk Rock Lee. Like, that's a fantastic fight. It was really enjoyable. What's up with the I want to live scene? Like, I know that Kishimoto and Oda are very good friends. Kishimoto even helped with Dressrosa. I know that, but it still feels a little weird. It wasn't incredible. It wasn't very memorable. The characters didn't really matter to me. Yeah, C tier. This one has a crazy setup, like a nuts setup. There's a lot of moving pieces. Starting off, there's a land of sky. A bunch of people come down and destroy the Leaf Village. Then we've got a mysterious doctor that comes up, and he's like a miracle doctor. Everybody loves him. And then we find out Orochimaru is sending Sasuke to get this doctor to perform his jutsu or whatever. We find out the good guy is the bad guy, and he controls something called the Zero Tails, which is honestly a great name and something that I'm really surprised we never saw in canon. But not only does this guy have the Zero Tails, he also has an incredible jutsu that lets him master all 8 gates without having any downside of them. What? Like, he tanks a full Rasengan and then just like shifts his body a little and he's perfectly fine. And then Sasuke comes in and no diffs him, and then they do this thing that I hate in anime movies that I'm going to talk about right now because I hate it. They do a chakra absorbing thing and it makes it seem like it's unbeatable, and then the characters overload it with chakra, and then the guy doesn't know how to deal with it and he dies. That sucks. Don't do that anymore. Don't do that ever again. I don't know why that's a pet peeve of mine in these anime movies, but it is. They did it in a Dragon Ball movie, and it pissed me off. This was my favorite movie until that happened, so now it's A tier. Sorry, you went a whole tier down because you did the chakra absorbing, overload it with more chakra thing. Come on. This is another one that develops a plot line very, very quickly. Within 15 minutes, we already have the main antagonist declaring war against the Leaf Village. We find out that this random dude who actually has a lot of ties to the Leaf Village that we've never heard of for some reason, but he exists. We find out he's procuring Kekkei Genkai users from across all the different villages. Kakashi sacrifices himself into his jutsu and goes that way, and everybody follows him. But what I like about this movie is that it actually gives a focus on a lot of characters we don't really see. I mean, 1010 does one of the most impactful things here in this movie. So you get some cool team attacks. You get to see a really nice Rock Lee and Neji team attack. You get to see some Inoshika Cho stuff. Like, it's just a good time. But we have them all fighting against the random Kekkei Genkai users, and I was expecting to see some really cool abilities, and then they all just whip out some random animal attack, and that's it. And then it turns out that they're actually just like pieces of this chimera. They fuse together into this Power Ranger Mighty Morphin chimera dude. Big kaiju. Fortunately, the main guy himself, Hiroko, has a pretty solid journey. We get to see him inserted into some flashbacks with the Sannin and with young Kakashi. Like, they bring up the young Kakashi and Obito thing where he gave his eye. Once Hiroko actually does his jutsu and he's very strong, he becomes this godly being, and it's very hard to deal with him until Rasen Shuriken and the game's over. So that's cool. I like Hiroko, and I think he is an interesting character, but he kind of just feels like an Orochimaru clone. Mad scientist turned rogue ninja who wants the Sharingan of a young boy. Yeah, it's literally Orochimaru. Low A tier. Kind of just inserted into the climax of an already ongoing mission. 5 minutes in, we're sent back in time following Naruto, and he meets his dad Minato as a random ninja. But like I said, we get to see Minato and we get to see young Kakashi. There's a lot of interesting characters here at play, although unfortunately I do wish Minato's squad was a little cooler. He has Choji's dad and Shino's dad. Of all the people you could have brought, you really brought 2 of the most lame guys, Big Guy and Bug Guy. Speaking of kinda lame, we have the main antagonist here who's actually just a puppet master. Yup, I brought it back. I said it earlier that I think puppet masters are lame, and I'll stick with it. You're just commanding a bunch of little mindless dolls. It kind of sucks. Even though he gets, once again, a kaiju guy. Still kind of lame. Sorry, use a jutsu or something. What are you doing? As for the storyline of this one, I think it's pretty good. You know, puppet princess, all that. Time travel in general is just a messy concept. I know that the movie itself isn't canon, so it doesn't really matter. It's not the worst, it's not the best, it's pretty middling, so we put it in the middle. B tier. This is another one that gets you entranced pretty quickly into the movie, in my opinion. It starts off with the Raikage, who I think is a really cool character, very strong. I really enjoy his jutsus, and I enjoyed his struggles in the actual show. Raikage versus Sasuke is one of my favorite fights. What am I gonna say? And we have him fighting against this random mysterious man who turns out to be Naruto. Or, you know, more likely a clone of Naruto, because imagine, right? Imagine Naruto's just out here, like, fighting Raikage for fun. But everybody thinks that he is actually Naruto doing all these crimes, so they send him off to prison. This random prison that we've never heard of that's a really big deal. And the warden is a really strong character who has a broken ability that lets you restrain somebody's chakra. It's not a chakra absorbing thing, it just doesn't allow him to use chakra without taking a lot of damage. So the whole movie is really about this box of paradise. It's a box that can grant wishes, gives you power, essentially. But it's really dumb because the warden sacrificed his son to use the power of this box, and his wish was to see his son again. You could have just not done it. I don't know, maybe I'm the stupid one here. Maybe I'm the idiot, I don't know. But what comes out of the box when he makes that wish is his son. But it's not really his son because he comes out and then he turns into this giant monster. Once again, a kaiju battle. Can you believe it? Get used to that because that's the majority of Naruto from here on. Like, not only in the movies, that's all of it. There's a lot of tailed beasts and crazy shit going on. And we have this giant monster that I don't even want to start to explain. And we start fighting. And of course, Naruto whips out Sage Mode because it's a cheat code. Chakra Prison doesn't register it because it's nature energy instead of just his own chakra. Do your research a little better. If you're getting a Jinchuriki to sacrifice, don't get one that knows Sage Mode. I mean, you knew he had Sage Mode. Did you not see the pain fight? It's like the most popular episode of Naruto, bro. How you haven't seen that one yet? Out of nowhere pops out 8 tails and all of the shinobi from the leaf. And once again, we're getting into these like artifacts and mysterious things that happen in the Naruto world. And I just like that. I think, you know, it's very reminiscent of like Hunter x Hunter or One Piece, where there's just like random things in the world. So I like to see that like dipped in Naruto. And it's one of my favorite movies. I'm going to put it in S tier because there's got to be more up here, man. We got to put some movies up here. Toby, Madara, the Masked Man. He is a big role of this movie, and he's my favorite character, so you know how it is. I'm gonna rate the movie S tier. Haha, let's move on. No, but seriously, this is a really cool movie. I think it has the highest stakes of all of the movies. Because let's be real, Madara has already captured Naruto and Sakura for some reason, but you know. He captures Naruto, and he's trying to extract the tailed beast from him out of his own limited Tsukuyomi. Not only the stakes are high, I think the movie's interesting. We get to see alternate paths, alternate versions of all these characters. Of course, we have Hinata, who's outspoken, and that's funny, but you also have characters like Sakura's dad, who's randomly the Hokage, the character that you probably don't even know his name. We also have good guy Akatsuki. They're just hireable ninjas for a job. And of course, you have evil Naruto. If you saw the beginning of Naruto, you know that if he took that pain and loneliness to heart and went evil with it, he easily could have sought out power and then did everything that Sasuke did, but just stayed in that way. But the real cool thing is kaiju battles. There's a lot of kaiju battles in these, so get used to it. But here we have a Ninetales versus Ninetales, which is a Ninetales versus evil Ninetales. And Ninetales makes a pact with Naruto that they should defeat this Ninetales, so you get to see full Ninetales running around fighting. You got tailed beast bombs being flailed all around. That is my favorite character, the highest stakes of all the Naruto movies. S tier. We start off with a voiceover intro, voiced over by Jiraiya. We're past Shippuden now, so of course, we get to actually talk about the really juicy stuff. But once we actually get into the movie, of course, the movie takes 2 different lanes. The first one, the Naruto and Hinata relationship, and it takes a big focus on that, and they confess their love to each other, and that's cute. But if you want to just see fists being flown around, this movie has some of the craziest stuff of that as well. You have Tonari Otsutsuki, who's the main villain of this one. Yeah, you heard that right. It's another Otsutsuki. one that we haven't seen yet. It's a Moon Man. Every real villain now from here on has to be like an Otsutsuki or something. But here we have a guy that can literally split the moon in half with one slice. Of course, you still have your kaiju battle as well. You have Kurama who pops out to just fight this giant rock dude. Side note, I love the setting. They start by going underground and then end up inside of the moon. They're on the moon. They're literally on the moon. You have this giant crescent moon encasing this weird thing in the middle that turns out to be a planet-destroying weapon. It does, of course, embody some of the things that a lot of people hate about Naruto, which is like aliens and kaiju battles and not just using hand signs for little water dragons anymore. But I'm here for it. You know, I'm a big fan of Naruto, like all of Naruto. You tell me that Naruto is fighting a man on the moon and that guy splits the moon in half, I'm gonna watch the fuck out of that. I will say that I don't like how heavily they nerfed some characters. Of course, they nerfed Naruto's hair, but they actually nerfed Hinata like really, really bad. Hinata is an actual capable ninja, and yet they have her falling from a building and not being able to like catch herself by like standing on it. That's some base level shinobi shit, dude. You can always walk up trees with infusing a little bit of chakra. She really just feels like a damsel in distress in this one. I don't know, Hinata's a cool character, man. Like, don't make her a mom. Oh wait, they do that in Boruto. I'd probably say like A tier for this movie. I hope I'm not overrating it. It's not recency bias or anything like that, but it is definitely, you know, less a Naruto movie. It's kind of more like post movie. You know, you have Otsutsuki and stuff, and it's all like an afterthought, right? Because obviously they didn't expect to make Toneri and stuff, but it's a movie. You don't have to, you know, think about it too much. Just enjoy it. It's fun. I remember when I actually saw this, me and a couple of my friends, we skipped a day of school. Call the police. We skipped a day of school and went to New York to see this movie. The movie itself is really enjoyable. It starts off really badass with Sasuke, you know, doing the Kinshiki fight, and that's really cool. And he tells Naruto, but Naruto's kind of caught up in this whole Chunin exams business, which is the next part of the movie, which is enjoyable to me. The Chunin exams is one of my favorite parts of base Naruto. And of course, now it's not so crazy, but you still have the 1v1 fights, which are really solid. You know, you have some really good ones in there, but you also have, you know, a little cheat shit because I hate this technology. I'm a big hater of this technology that's all over Boruto now. How are you gonna make like a little arm that can absorb jutsu? You're giving Rinnegan powers to random street dudes, and I hate that. A little arm that uses any jutsu. That's just not very fun. Getting past that, of course, we have Momoshiki and Kinshiki actually storming the Chunin exams, and that's pretty wild, and they actually take Naruto, and then, you know, you have Sasuke and Boruto and the Kages go to save Naruto. The Kages are okay. I'm not a huge fan of this wave of the Kages because they're really just like the apprentices of the last Hokage. Then you have Naruto and Sasuke teaming up to fight Momoshiki, and that's really nice. You have Momoshiki eating Kinshiki and gaining a lot of power. He like summons this giant lava man, and then you have your kaiju fight, but this time we get Nine Tails with Susanoo armor, and that's nuts, dude. And then you have, of course, a Rasengan finisher. However, this is a Boruto movie. Boruto uses it, a vanishing Rasengan. So of course Momoshiki would go to absorb it, and then he's like, oh, I guess this kid does nothing. And then it gets whacked, and then he loses. Yep, you lost to Boruto. You lost to Boruto, buddy. It feels pretty similar to the last movie, mostly because we meet and defeat a new Otsutsuki member in the course of one movie. Even though I have a soft spot for it, it doesn't deserve S. It honestly probably deserves B tier, but I'm still gonna give it A tier because I'm an enjoyer. But that's really it. That's all I have for the video. You know, we talked about all 11 movies, and here's the full ranking. I'll pop it up on the screen, the full tier list, and you should watch all of the good ones. You should watch the bad ones too if you're a fan of Naruto. If you're a true enjoyer, you'll watch them all. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I really hope you do subscribe. Seriously, look at the graph. The graph, it says it all, dude. Subscribe. Bye.